right, IM2 classes. Today we are talking about similar right triangles. Let's just get right into our first example. We're going to be identifying similar triangles in this diagram here. If you're looking at, there's actually three similar right triangles. The first one that we have is the small triangle here. The S to T to U, right? We have the small right triangle there. Then the other part of it, the medium triangle, R to U to T there, right? And then the whole thing together, R to T to S, right? And it's going to help when we do these problems to resketch the triangles to see what matches up with what and label it. But then we have TU or TSU is similar to RTU is similar to RST, right? So now we have that. We're going to skip ahead. Now we need to find X here. We're going to use right triangles. So for this one, I'm going to sketch out the triangles that we know are congruent, the three different triangles, and see how we can set up a proportion to solve. So up here, there's G to E to H, G, E, H. We have the right angle at H. I'm going to label stuff. GH is X, and then GE is 3. And we don't know EH, it's part of that whole length 5 there. The other one, let's see, so we set it up, it's going to be F to G to H. So F to G to H. So F, G, H. Right triangles at H. And we know, so HG is X. F to G is 4, and then the whole thing together, and it would have helped. I'm going to flip this around, so it's going to be F to E to G. I should have sketched it out so they're facing that way with the big one, but whatever. F, F to E to G. So F to E is 5, GF, this is 4, and then 3. And so we are trying to find, X. We don't need to use all of them. We're going to use the side lengths here. We just need to set the proportion. Because these are closest, I will just use this here. So if we look, so I'm looking for this side here. That's going to correspond to this side here. So I'm going to set a ratio between those two. So it's going to be X corresponds to the 3. And now I need another proportion to set up to in green. So I know this side here, that corresponds to this side here. So that's going to be oh, don't want that one, want this one. So it's going to be 4 to 5. All right, and then from here, it's just a matter of solving the proportion. I'm going to cross multiply through here. So it's going to be 5 times X is equal to 3 times 4. 5 times X is 5X. 3 times 4 is 12. Divide both sides by 5 to finish solving. And we can leave it there as 12 fifths. So X is going to be equal to 12 fifths. We don't get a whole number. That's okay. Right? We don't need a whole number with everything. All right, moving on. So same thing, split it up, find the ratios. We'll go through and do another example here, just so This video isn't too long, but here we're going to work on the geometric mean. So the geometric mean for this, so we're going to be trying to find the hypotenuse, or not the hypotenuse, the altitude, this middle portion here. So we can see CD. I'll highlight some things. So we're CD, take the length of this side and square it. That's going to be equal to AD times BD, right? And then solve. So it's going to be helpful to have this written down, maybe an example of what you're looking for this stuff, because keeping this straight is probably going to be the hardest part of it. But once you have the right formula, it's just plugging stuff in and doing the math. Actually working this out isn't very hard. So let's look at an example here. So we have X and then the side. So just by that geometric mean that we just did, we're looking for that. So it's going to be X squared is equal to 6 times 3. And that's it. That's all we got to set up. So X squared, well, 6 times 3, 6 times 3 is 18. We do need to take the square root of both sides. And when we have a square root there, we need to do a buddy system. So off to the side, I'm going to do a buddy system. So square root of 18. 18 is 2 times 9. 9 is 3 times 3. So put those back in the radical. 2 times 3 times 3. Remember, for the buddy system, we're going to look for pairs. So I have a pair of 3s. For every pair of 3, for every pair, one of those numbers goes on the outside. So I get 3 times the square root of 2. So X is equal to 3 root 2. Done. That's how you find the altitude. Those sides will be given. So it's just the altitude squared times those two sides. The other one here is a little bit more confusing. So make sure you're keeping this stuff straight. So let me highlight some things. So CB. So now if we're looking for this side, that's going to be equal to, so CB, that is going to be equal to DB times A to B. All right. So this is one where we definitely want to keep track of everything. All right. So when we're trying to find this side, all right, you multiply the small chunk times the whole thing together. So make sure you're reading that carefully. So let's do an example of how to do that. So we're trying to find this side. So that is going to be equal to, so it's going to be y squared is equal to the small chunk, right, times the whole thing together. So we got to add those, 2 plus 5. All right, so y squared is equal to 2 times 7. Y squared, 2 times 7 is 14. You need to take the square root of both sides. So we get y is equal to 14. Doesn't have any buddies. That's just 2 times 7. We can just leave it as a square root of 14. All right. And so the next one that we're going to do, we're trying to find the longer side. So here we're trying to find the short leg. This one we're trying to find the long leg. So let's go back because it's going to be different. So I'm going to erase some stuff here. When you're trying to find the long leg of this, so I'm going to get out the highlighter. So now we are trying to find AC, the long leg or medium leg, right? So we're still going to use parts of that hypotenuse, but this time it's going to be the A to D times A to B. So for here, it's going to be the longer chunk of the hypotenuse times the whole hypotenuse. So if you're trying to find the medium leg, it's going to be the long chunk of the hypotenuse times the whole hypotenuse. If you're trying to find the short leg, it's the short part of the hypotenuse times the whole hypotenuse. So let's go back, look at the whole thing here. So we are trying to find the medium leg. So it's going to be b squared is equal to, you got to do the long chunk, right? 16 times the whole hypotenuse together. 6 times 6, or 6 plus 16. So this is b squared is equal to 16 times 22. I don't feel like thinking that hard, so I'm going to do that in a calculator. 16 times 22 is 352. So b squared is equal to 352. That is not a perfect square, and I'm guessing there's going to be some buddies. So we do need to do a buddy system on this. I'll do it off to the side. So the square root of 352. It ends in a 2, so it's even, so I know I can divide it by 2. I get 2 times 176. The 176 is even, so I know that divides by 2 again. Divide by 2, and that's 88. 88 is even, so I can divide by 2 again, so that's 2 times 44. 44 is even, divide by 2, so that's 2 times 22. And then 22 is 2 times 11. So if I put all these buddies back in, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 2s at the bottom of the tree. 2, 3, 4, 5, and an 11. Now I look for pairs. So I have a pair of 2s. For every pair, 1 goes on the outside. Cross it out. Then I have another pair of 2s. So it goes on the outside, cross it out. No more pairs left, so I'm just going to simplify, multiply things out. So 2 times 2 is 4. Times the square root, 2 times 11 is 22. So I get b is equal to 4 times the square root of 22. And we are done. And that will do it for us now. Next time, I believe we're getting into right triangle trigonometry. Good times. See you then.